Why, hi there. I'm Ron Juckett, and Retro Sports Network and HockeyTournaments.com presents a championship preview, as I can see my bald head. After we've now played the divisional round of games, Dave Gardner will actually join me Sunday, sometime before the Alabama Clemson game, which is also sponsored by HockeyTournaments.com. And so we'll get together then and talk about the three games ahead, the national championship pregame or the pre-play, which we'll do Sunday, and then the championship games, which will be Tuesday and Thursday, unless I hear otherwise from my Dungeons and Dragons partners. But my guess is that we will do the AFC Championship game on Tuesday between the Patriots and the Steelers, and probably closer to 8 o'clock. We had the best audience around, and so both of these games will be right in prime time. 8 o'clock Tuesday for Dallas, for Pittsburgh and New England, and then Thursday, unless things change, will be Dallas hosting Los Angeles. And what a wrap that was for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, you kind of expected it. You get teams that get taken behind the woodshed, and the Washington Redskins certainly qualified for that. They were pretty shaky against the Giants. Remember, the Giants nearly won that game. They came within 6 yards of upsetting the Redskins, and the Redskins just looked terrible. My goodness, they beat Dallas in Dallas on Thanksgiving, but tonight, when it mattered the most, 31-3. And so that's the Final Four. So it's going to be Tuesday night at 8 o'clock will be the Patriots hosting the Steelers. And if you're in the chat, say hi. What are your thoughts going in for the game? The last two playoff games weren't all that great. The AFC games were kind of one-sided. Kind of expected that, actually. And for the Patriots, I think Patriots fans would be relieved if they were that one-sided. Cleveland just didn't, like with Joe Theismann tonight, Brian Saip didn't really have anything for Cleveland. And in the other two games, you expected Pittsburgh and Denver to be a defensive slobber knocker, and it was. And the Steel Curtain showed up when it needed to as well. I'll be very curious to see, and when we talk with Dave on Sunday afternoon before we get into the national championship pre-play, what he thinks of that. So what are your thoughts in the chat? So we have the Final Four. We have Pittsburgh traveling to New England, and we had the Rams and the Cowboys. Now, in real life, the Rams played the Cowboys, but the Rams had the best record in the conference. And so that game was at Memorial Coliseum, one of those, okay, the Rams have got one more chance to make it. And nope, sorry, Dallas dumped them. So that's the Final Four. Let's see what else we got going on. Just as a couple other programming notes, voting is still open, by the way. If you haven't voted in our baseball poll, I'll get that link up to you. Ooh, 1982 is pulled ahead in the polling. If you haven't voted for what our next replay season is, now is the time to do so. So if you haven't voted, go vote now. 1982 was pulled ahead, which is interesting since I had already prepped 1978. So that will actually start, the polls close Saturday afternoon, and the winner will be announced during the Duke, North Carolina game Saturday afternoon. We have a doubleheader for you in basketball. We've got the debuts for both the 80s Duke team and the 70s Michigan State UCLA at approximately 12:30, and then a half hour after the conclusion, we'll play Duke and North Carolina from the 1980s. So that's what we got coming up on the channel. So, yep, the Final Four of our NFL replay. Three of the teams are actually from real life. The Rams did what they had to do in their game against the Bears. Pat Hayden had a good game, and they've earned a trip to Dallas. And so the Rams, if they pulled the upset, could go to the Super Bowl a year early. Dallas is supposed to be there. I thought right along from about the middle of the season on, I knew Dallas was going to be right there. I actually thought up until the last month of the season that they were the best team in the entire replay. And then they lost to Miami, Washington, in New England, and it made you wonder. But after this one, I don't know what's in the rolls or what's in behind the engine. That's one of the things that I don't necessarily like with a closed game engine is, what's rolling on behind the scenes. But when Dallas needed to show up, my God, did they ever show up? So I would think that Dallas would be a 7-8 point favorite over the Rams. John Capoletti, who is the Rams' primary rusher, is really just a ground and pound 3 yards in a cloud of painted California grass runner. And I don't think he's going to have a lot of success against the Cowboys. We made sure that Roger Staubach, Tony Pearson, or Tony Dorsett, and Robert Newhouse were well protected and not injured. So they're going to be at full strength for that game. I just don't see Dallas losing that. In the AFC, you've got New England and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, of course, won it in real life. They won it in Pittsburgh over Houston, 34 to whatever it was, 5. I think Houston got a safety. How exciting. Andy Johnson is supposed to be healthy for the Patriots, and that makes a big difference for New England because they can run 4. And Brad in the chat says the Rams smashed the Vikings that year 34-10 and then lose 28-0 at home to Dallas. All those years, the Rams kind of underperformed. Rams and Vikings doing that kabuki dance. And so the Rams did beat I forgot what the final score of the Rams-Bears game was, but it wasn't all that close. The Rams were pretty much Ram tough. So, so Pittsburgh comes in having, they were, I think, 12-3-1. I forgot who they tied against off the top of my head. Really doesn't matter. But the New England went 14-2, and Pittsburgh lost to Denver in Denver the last week of the season. I didn't show you the game. It was because we played 6 games that were winning in games instead. But Pittsburgh obviously beat Denver at home. So Pittsburgh not only will face a different opponent, but they're doing it on the road. And the Patriots in the games that we've had have actually played very well. If I had to give a guess between who I want as a quarterback, I would take Terry Bradshaw over Steve Grogan. But Franco Harris is one of those runners that's going to get you 3 yards a carry. And so if the Patriots can shut down Franco and Blyer, it comes down to whether Terry Bradshaw can beat you. He certainly beat the Cleveland Browns. Stallworth and Swan are much better receivers than Harold Jackson and Stanley Morgan. But the Patriots are pretty much playing on house money. And because it's a home game, I would only make the Patriots 1 or 2 point favorites. I really think that New England, the Steelers were 14-2 on that real year. Best record in football. But they were clearly the best team going into the playoffs, and they showed it. Pittsburgh has had a very good year in the replay. You didn't see them all that often because, well, you saw them enough. But we'll see. Like I said, the Patriots, I think, are playing with house money. They've played exceptionally well. Every challenge historically that might have tripped them up along the way, the Cowboy game, going into Miami that last night of the season, winning that first ever home playoff game, they've all done that. So if there is a momentum factor in the football game, the Patriots have got to be riding high. And they went 14-2 in the regular season, in the sim season, and won their playoff game rather easily. But Pittsburgh is a different animal. But we look at things, don't forget, from the perspective of the future, 40 years in the future. We know that Pittsburgh won the real Super Bowl, and we know that they repeated. But if you were to, read articles from this week in the first week of 1979 in the simulated universe, Pittsburgh had won 2 Super Bowls, had a very good year, but they have to still prove things to themselves. So the early line is going to be New England by 2 and Dallas by 8. If I was to have a Bonata account, I would go New England a 2 point favorite. I think the kicking games for New England and Pittsburgh are rather equal, which is, 33. Brad's giving me the real scores. 33-10 over Denver, which is close to what Pittsburgh did to Denver yesterday. And then the Oilers 34-5. I don't think if Pittsburgh wins, I don't think they're going to go into New England and blow them out. I just don't see it. And so certainly a winnable game for Pittsburgh, and we could easily end up with a real-life Super Bowl. The Rams, well, if the Rams are going to be successful against Dallas, they cannot make the mistakes that Washington made tonight. They cannot get off to a slow start. You cannot make mental mistakes. You got to play a perfect game. They have a good defense. I think they can put some pressure on Staubach to beat them. But let's just put it this way. The Doomsday defense is on a roll. And right now, they are in the world's best shape of repeating. If I had to take a guess of who I would think to win the Super Bowl right now, it would be the Dallas Cowboys. I thought they were the best regular season team, even with the Patriots' 14-2 record. And then they proved it tonight. That was you've been taken behind the woodshed. You got into the Christmas cookies or drank the beer, and you just got paddled. The Washington Redskins were absolutely paddled tonight, 31-3. All right. Well, I'm supposed to do a basketball doubleheader on Saturday. I may only do just one and do the basketball doubleheader next week. If you want to see an instructional video of any kind over the next couple days, I have some time, and I'm interested to see what you want to actually do that with. I could do, you name it, I'll put it out. It probably won't be live, but I'll go ahead and put out an instructional video. The link in the poll is there. We will announce. I think I won't do a basketball doubleheader Saturday. It'll just be Michigan State and UCLA, because I want to go out to lunch with my wife if I can. And the playoffs begin at 4 o'clock, 4:30. And I don't want to cram in 2 games before then. So just one basketball game. So yeah, if you want an instructional video tomorrow, let me know. Right now, the poll results for baseball. With 27 votes in, 82, 33%, 78, 26%, 88, making a comeback with 19% of the 27 votes. You can only vote once. So go in and vote. The season will start Tuesday afternoon. If it's 78, it will be Houston at Cincinnati. Will be the opener. And we would do a Tuesday and a Wednesday game. Let me open up the 82 season. That was the year of bad snowstorms to start the year. Someone actually wanted 2017. They told me that on Twitter. Come on, load. If it is 82, I'm going to have to reset that. It would be Kansas City and Baltimore on opening day. And then the snows hit. So it's either the Royals or the Orioles if we go 82, or the Astros and the Reds if we go 78. That Steelers team lost to the Rams 10-7 at the Coliseum that year. Oh, wow. Okay. So so Brad's thinking ahead. If the Rams can pull the upset, then the Rams beat the Steelers that year. I forgot. I'd have to switch. So what happened in the replay, would you ask? Okay, I can figure that out. I don't know why. Why it's not telling me who won? In case you're wondering, in the replay, oh, that was the game they tied. They tied at 13. Pittsburgh tied Los Angeles at 13. Potential Super Bowl matchups. New England beat Dallas 37-21. At Dallas, we had that game for you. Dallas did not play Pittsburgh. They lost to New England. And obviously the Rams did not play New England. So there you go. So we get 2 of the teams actually met each other. Dallas beat Los Angeles 34-14 in Dallas in week 3. That made the Rams 0-3. In that game, it was in Los Angeles, beg your pardon, 34-14. In that game, Staubach went 16 for 29 for 221. Hayden was chased. The Rams, Cappelletti was the leading rusher for the Rams with 37 yards. Dorsett went nuts, 27 carries, 86 yards. So, hi, Al. How you doing, buddy? Dave will be on with me sometime Sunday afternoon before the national championship pre-play, and Mr. Gardner will give his thoughts on the season. I don't want to dislike my own video. That's rather tacky and all that. And so, Al, we missed you. And so there you go. So if you're looking at real-life matchups, Pittsburgh and New England did not play, I think. We can double-check this. Yes, they did. No, they didn't. Pittsburgh beat the Jets 20-10. They lost to Buffalo 16-14. But they did not play New England, Baltimore, or Miami. Well, they did beat Baltimore 41-0. So they didn't play New England or Miami. So Pittsburgh and New England did not play. Dallas went into Los Angeles to play and beat them. So I stand by my 8 points for Dallas. And Brad says Steelers held to 174 total yards by the Rams, while the Rams had 313. Never knew that, nor forgot it. It's amazing the things that we remember. All right, so I'll just leave it in the chat. Dave and I will be on camera in a couple days, but Al, you missed it. You can go back and watch, but you really shouldn't. The Cowboys advanced to the NFC Championship game with a 31-3 thrashing of the Washington Redskins. Just an absolute blowout. The fact that Staubach, Tony Dorsett, and Robert Newhouse were arrested in the fourth quarter, and Billy Kilmer came in a quarterback for the Redskins at the start of the second half, but even the old fat guy couldn't do it, which I shouldn't talk about myself like that. Excuse me, that's mean. All right, so the early spreads are going to be, as I said, and I was right. Dallas by 8, Patriots by 2. And so the initial plan is, as Al says, told you that was going to be the clunker, and Al was right. Al, by the way, had that wonderful pre-play of Houston and Indianapolis using Fran Tarkenton football. I watched bits and pieces of that. That's a cool experiment. And the one thing I thought was the most cool about that, because I don't want to clutter chat with Al on Saturday because we don't really talk about sports that much, was, the camera was way up. And so it was on his baseball pad. And so it was like you were watching a football game at a baseball stadium, bad seats and all. It was awesome. I just thought that was so cool. All right. So unless you hear otherwise, like I said, if you want an instructional video of some sort, let me know in the comments or the chat. Be glad to get one out for you. Baseball season poll is shifted. It was going to be 78. It's now 82. By the hair of its chinny chin chin. You still have 2 days to vote. So it'll either be the Houston Astros and Cincinnati Reds, if it's 78 on Tuesday, or the Baltimore Orioles and Kansas City Royals. And I didn't call them the Chiefs. That's good. So baseball starts on Tuesday. Go Tuesday, Wednesday we'll do a Wednesday game in prime time. And the football playoffs, right now, the plan is Steelers, Patriots, Tuesday night. Yeah, either way, I'm happy with it. But I already prepped all the logos and uniforms for 78, thinking 78 was going to win. So, but that's not to influence your vote. If you haven't voted, please vote. So baseball on Tuesday and Wednesday. Patriots hosting the Steelers on Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. Early line by Bonata has New England -2. And then Thursday, unless I hear otherwise, it'll be Dallas and Los Angeles at 8 o'clock. And I'm going to install the Cowboys as an 8-point favorite. -8 for Dallas. I'm just thinking that Dallas will that game might be better than what we think. And I know that the television networks would have gone Dallas last. So I had more people watching this than the actual game, but the game wasn't very good. All right, I got to go put that back in there. Anything else? Al, Brad, your thoughts before I go on the NFL Final Four? Super Bowl, by the way, will be 2 weeks from last night at 8 o'clock from Miami. Sunday night after the real life foot playoffs will be the national championship between Alabama and Clemson. And if you didn't watch the game earlier, I did a little scrimmage between those two teams, and oh my God, are they fast. Al says, go Pats. Alabama got up to a 21-0 lead and nearly blew it before I stopped it. So both teams are going to score. They're going to score often. I think you're going to be entertained. It's certainly a lot different football from 1978. And that game is presented, of course, by HockeyTournaments.com because they actually paid for the teams. And Diet Dr. Pepper, because I'm going to have a big old glass of that when I call the football game. And hopefully we'll get a football game, a pre-play that's actually good, better than the actual game itself, because the bowl games were stinky. All right. Well, I think that about does it for me tonight, as always. So thank you so much for watching and liking and sticking with us in a boring game. As Tony Whitehill would say if he was still awake, the hardest games to do are the ones that when the game is no longer in doubt and you got to kill time for a half hour, which is what we ended up doing. Al, as you know, is rooting for the Pats. I think Dave is going to root for the Pats too. Brad, if you're still watching, buddy, just give me an initial line or two on who you think's going to win and why, because Brad's an actual football expert. I just play the games. But I think we got, I think the best Final Four that you could. It's 1 and 2 in the NFC, and it's 1 and 2 in the AFC. And so of the 4 teams that were supposed to be there, you got them. The only difference being that Pittsburgh and Houston couldn't play in the divisional game in real life. And so Dave says, yeah, all the high school games you did this year were blowouts. Oh, that's tough, isn't it? Remember, the word to use when a team implodes like the Redskins is goo-goo cluster. You can say goo-goo cluster flark if you want, or fart, just don't say the other word. And because the Redskins just kind of goo-goo clustered themselves. And so, yeah, it's tough. At least the clock continuously runs after a while, doesn't it, Dave? So Dave and I will be together sometime Sunday afternoon to preview home team. Oh, my God. The home team lost them all. I cannot imagine. Oh, my goodness. You did what it's the only thing you can do. I really got to get you and Tony Whitehill on together. You two would have some great stories to tell. See what he's doing tomorrow night. We might do one of those Friday fun things. So you did what you could. Yeah, no, that's tough. All right, gang. So here's the plan. If you want an instructional video, ask for it down below. I'll get something out tomorrow. I'll see what my friend Mr. Whitehill's doing. We might do a Friday night fun time and just tell some stories. I know that it's been a tough week in the wrestling world with Mean Gene Okerlund passing. If you were a 76-year-old man yesterday, it was not your day. Between Mean Gene Okerlund, the captain from Captain and Tennille, and Super Dave Osborne. I was watching some of those Super Dave videos today. Those were funny. All right, so sports-wise on this channel, I'm just going to do one basketball game. I'm going to take my wife out to lunch. We're going to Five Guys. And so Michigan, UCLA, around 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. Poll will close for baseball at that point. We'll know what season we're doing. Sunday, Hockey Tournaments Championship Preview will feature myself and Big Dave Gardner. I hope he finds a good jersey to wear. I was loving that Campbell Conference All-Star jersey he had on today from a video that he did. He did his top 5 games and something else he did today. So go check that out. Al on his channel was doing the Fran Tarkenton replay. Saturday, chat with Al, I'm sure will be on this week. Sunday, as I said, we'll do the preview, then the national championship pre-play. You have the Wales too. That's awesome. National championship preview and the pre-play Sunday night after the Bears and the Rams go at it in the NFC wildcard game. Tuesday, baseball debut. Not sure what we're doing yet. 78 or 82, we're in the lead. Go vote in that poll. And then the conference championships. Tuesday night, it's the AFC. Pittsburgh and New England from Foxborough. And then Thursday night from Dallas, the Cowboys host the Rams as we head on the road to Miami. As I burp. All right. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'm Ron Juckett. Hope you have a good night. I'll talk to you the next time.